there's a client's website, and it's a relatively new site, so it really doesn't have a lot of traffic to it right now. And they are looking at purchasing, and it's like a .co, and so they're trying to get the .com purchased. And when they do that, they actually want to switch the website to the .com. So this is kind of like, in this instance, there's not a lot to really be worried. I don't know, but even if there were, like, I remember there are certain things you need to do right to make sure that you don't break certain things in SEOs and all that stuff. Like, what do I need to watch out for?
Yeah. So the big deal when it comes to SEO for changing websites, especially domains, is that Google uses each URL as kind of an identifier for all the pages. So if there is even one change in the URL, it's got to reindex the site, the page, right? So it reindex every page. So if it's a domain that's changing, even if we're just adding an M from .co to .com, every URL has changed in the site. So Google then has to reindex every page on the website.
Would that be done through, I guess I'd have to set up a new thing for Google Search Console and submit it?
So that's like the last step.
Okay.
And I started to hesitate because there was this tool where it was called the Site Migrator in Search Console, and you would do that. And some people believed erroneously that that's all you needed to do.
Okay.
And it's one thing you could do, but like, remember, Google doesn't make money from SEO. So they're not going to tell you all the things. And if you followed that, it would work, but it wouldn't give you the full SEO benefit.
Okay.
However, this is so important because the number one reason why websites, when they get launched, new websites, when they get launched, traffic go down is because simply the URLs change. And if people don't prepare for the URLs changing, that is where they're not going to recover the traffic. Now, theoretically, when we launch a new site, the new site's going to perform better. But usually what that means is there's a slump for a month, maybe two, while Google reindexes the site. Now, the goal is after 1 or 2 months, the site's doing better than it was before. And so we want to do all the things necessary to make sure that we can maximize, shorten the time, it's a slump, and get more out of it. So the first thing we need to do is, because the URL matters for each page, that's how Google identifies each page. So even if there's a variation, like one ends in a slash and one doesn't, or www or not, or HTTPS or HTTP, these are all slight variations. Humans can see it, but that's since Google is using that URL as the index of the site, the pages. If there's changes, Google's got to reindex everything. So if it's as simple as the entire site's the same, we're just going from .co to .com, that one letter difference, presuming they're able to get whatever .co and whatever .com, literally, not even like the whatever .com, right? That still needs to be handled. So there's certain things we got to do. Number one, we got to make sure and set up redirects. Those redirects should always be a 301, which is tricky because almost every system out there, by default, the default redirect is a 302. but Google interprets redirects differently if it's a 301 or a 302. A 302 tells Google, hey, that page isn't there anymore. It's over here for now. And for now could be temporary, a week, could be forever, but it's for now. And so Google will keep the old index URL in the index if it's a 302. So from a human perspective, that's what's confusing. Humans will get to the new site, but Google will not be passing any authority from the old site to the new site. So the old site will rank worse, get less traffic and stuff. But if you use a 301, you're saying, hey, Google, that page will no longer ever be there again. Please reconsider this URL, the new URL.
Okay.
That's the first step.
What do you use for the redirect, like a specific plugin or something?
Ideally, you wouldn't do a plugin.
Okay.
This would be better done through htaccess or Nginx. Now,
say that again.
htaccess.
Okay.
Most of our sites run off a Linux server using Apache, which uses htaccess as the redirect file. Some servers use what's called Nginx, Nginx. It's said Nginx, it's spelled Nginx.
Okay.
That is a lot faster solution if you can do it, but it's a lot harder to set up the redirects, and some managed hosts, you have to work through them. So the nice thing about one letter changing is that you might be able to set up a regular expression to say, if it's this, send it to that, presuming none of the other pages change, right? So if they're just going to change the domain name, but it's the exact same WordPress site, for instance, that should be pretty easy, and you should be able to set up a regex to say, okay, if someone's requested .co, send it to the exact same page via 301 redirect on .com.
Okay.
So that makes everything real easy, right?
Yeah.
But then you're going to have to watch in Search Console and in our Google Analytics dashboard for additional 404 errors. And you want to redirect those with the 301 as soon as possible.
Okay.
So that helps Google see, oh, it was .co, now it's .com quicker. And so the slump is shorter, right?
Yeah, okay.
But it also preserves any link authority from the old site to the new. If you use a 302, that link authority is lost. If you let the pages 404, that link authority is really, really lost.
Yeah.
And that's probably the number one reason why newly launched websites are there. Now, if while they're doing it, they're going to change their website and restructure their architecture and create new pages and remove pages, that's a whole other problem.
Yeah.
But all those are going to have to be 301 redirected.
Yeah.
And so that's why relying heavily on Search Console to tell you if there's a 404 error and using our own Google Analytics dashboard to find and redirect 404 errors will help expedite the slump, because then Google will be more quick to pick up.
Okay.
Right. Now, if the case is .co to .com, trying to predict the outcome can be hard, because if they have secured a .com from somebody and there is a previous link history to that, someone was using it, the old links will now go to the new site, but there will be links that go to pages that never existed on the new site. Because the old site probably was totally different. So you're going to see a sudden spike of 404s.
Okay.
So you're going to have to fix them. But we also have to worry about bad link neighborhoods, right? Where we got to make sure that the old SEO company was not spamming with bad links, which would suddenly be held accountable to our new site. So before we did that, we'd need to do an analysis using a backlink tool like Majestic or Ahrefs to just make sure there's not a bad link neighborhood here that would then hurt us now that we have migrated. All right. So those are some of the things we have to worry about.
Okay.
And that's why this needs to be done slowly and concertedly rather than, oh, just flip a switch and walk away. But we also need to be actively monitoring this. Like what I do is, because we have within the Google Analytics dashboard, we have a little data, it keeps track of 404 errors for us. I send that report to myself every day for at least a week. That way I'm getting in my inbox anytime someone tries to access a page that doesn't exist, and I can immediately set up those redirects. Because again, that expedites Google's ability to find the new site.
Yeah. Okay.
Then upon launch, you're going to want to immediately set up Search Console for the new site, right? Because the old site will no longer exist, right? Even though you got a 301 redirect, you need to verify Search Console for the new site. Then you need to go into Google Analytics, Google Tag Manager, whatever you're using for analytics, and make sure the domain is set properly because it's now .com, not .co.
Now, when you say that, explain a little bit more. So, like, I mean, to me, since you'd be kind of moving your analytics and Google Tag Manager to your new account with your Google Sitekit.
So first of all, within the admin section of Google Analytics is where you tell it the domain name.
Okay. Oh, I see.
Set that correctly. You will want to keep the old analytics code on the new site and put a note stating, hey, this is when we made this transition. So you can always reference that to go, oh yeah, that's why traffic went up or down. You know, you don't freak out a year later when you forgot.
Okay.
But it's probably not a problem with Tag Manager, but to verify with Sitekit, it needs to find that. And so just making sure that's set up properly.
Okay.
It's in verifying the domains and all that stuff. So you want to do that real quick so you can immediately collect the data, immediately send you those reports, immediately go into Search Console, submit an XML sitemap through Search Console so that Google sees that the new site exists. Right. Remember, it's a computer program. So even though we know, oh, it's website.com, no longer .co, and in our minds, it's the same thing. It's just a string of letters and numbers. It could be anything to Google. So it just has no idea it exists until you set that up.
Okay.
Then just watch for weirdness.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
Perfect. Yeah, that helps a lot.
Yeah. It's like I have a client right now. They are going to move to long story short, they are doing in 1 year a complete new website, a complete new domain name, and a complete new site architecture.
Whoa.
It needs to be done. These are all like really need to be done.
Yeah.
I advise them rather than do it 3 different times and have 3 different slumps to which you have to recover. Do it
all at once.
All at once. Google's going to re-index the site. Let's do it all at once. Otherwise, Google reindexes the site for the first change, reindexes the site for the second change, and you're going to have a net. It's not that doing them all at once will have 3 times the dip. It's still going to have the same dip. The entire site has to be reindexed.
Yeah.
So really, you're dipping once and doing all the changes rather than, okay, we're going to take a dip in March, and then we're going to take a dip in July, and then we're going to take a dip in October.
Yeah.
Oh, that would be huge, huge problem, because you probably wouldn't recover by the time we did the next thing, right?
Yeah.
Because this happens to be an amazingly huge size. Sorry, you got my internet? My internet's unstable.
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay.
You're good.